Ta-da! It's a magic trick. There's nothing there, and then here I am. All right, I have to join the show. That's not the way I want to join it. I'm going to try this again. You guys just settle in, find a comfortable chair. I hope you have a nice warm beverage, to keep you company. All right, Kyle is here and Kathy is here. Charmaine is here. Thanks you guys for showing up. That's really awesome of you. I really appreciate it. I'm going to wait just a little bit, obviously, before I get into all kinds of stuff. Let people get here. Their notifications are being sent out. People are going through their email. They're looking at their reminders and going, do I do this now or do I watch the replay? Well, if you're watching this replay, I hope you're not too late. That's all I can say. Hi, Paul. So here we are again in front of the Law of Attraction C. That's what I've decided to call it as of this moment. And what we do here is we answer your Law of Attraction questions. Who am I to answer your Law of Attraction questions? You may be saying, I don't think you are. But if you are, let me just throw a couple of business cards at you. Here's one set of business cards. This is a book, and this is a DVD, and they're both called The Secret. Not to be confused with the upcoming film, The Secret, starring Katie Holmes, based on this. We'll talk about that some other time. Please don't get me sidetracked. We've got so much to do today. Hi, Sean. Sean, good to see you. And Letitia is here as well, and Steve. Awesome. All right, so these little books right here talk a great deal about the Law of Attraction, and coincidentally, so do I. So much so that I've written 2 books on the subject. The first one, back in 2004, called Wealth Beyond Reason, based on my Law of Attraction curriculum of the same name. And then a few years later, like 6, this came out, Follow Your Passion, Find Your Power, and #1 bestseller. You know the drill. And yeah, you might check all these things out. I'm just saying. I didn't write them for my health. I wrote them so that one day I could show them to you. Today being the day. Okay, so look. Twofold purpose here today, and probably for a little while, and I'm just going to be honest with you about that because I like honesty. So obviously this is a Law of Attraction Q&A. It says so right there. That's what those initials stand for. That means that if you have a Law of Attraction related question, well, this is exactly the place to ask it. In fact, I invited you to do that very thing. The tough ones, I don't know, the hard ones. Also, if you have people in your life who are interested in the Law of Attraction, who have perhaps been struggling with it, tried a million things, you know those people. Maybe you were one at one point. Maybe you are one right now. Well, this is the place to be right here. I don't know where the other 7.5 billion people are in the planet, but this is where they should be. Unless they've just got this stuff down, in which case, that's fine. They don't need this. That's great. Hi, Beth. Nice to see you. Well, at least your name hovering in front of me. So anyway, yes, you're free to answer Law of Attraction questions all you want. But I thought what I'd do today is just, again, since I'm just sort of coming back into doing these on a regular basis here on this page, in lieu of a direct question, and again, you can ask it at any time, and I'll try and get to it as soon as possible. I just kind of want to go over the basic tenets of the Law of Attraction, because, I know that I explain this a lot differently than some other people, but I also think it's the right way. And why would I come out here and say, I'm not sure about this, but this is what I think it is? No. This is what I know it is to be. And it makes just much more sense. And when you understand the science of the Law of Attraction and the logic behind it, then all these things you read about it and ways to implement it make a lot more sense. Anyway. So basically, the way that we're using the Law of Attraction is all about what? Creating our lives by design. But as I've said many times on these broadcasts, the Law of Attraction in and of itself isn't about us getting anything. The way that I talk about the Law of Attraction, this is the basic, this energy being the basic building blocks of the universe, behaves in certain ways to come together to create how we experience reality. And by the way, we are also a cluster of energy, and we're The miracle of us is that we get to experience all this in the physical, and we have consciousness and thoughts and emotions and all of this stuff. We're given this incredible opportunity to experience existence, basically, on all forms. And by the way, we've been given the ability to create that existence how we want. Yes, we have. And that becomes possible through what this law of attraction is. But the law of attraction was not invented so that we could have what we want. It's just a part of what facilitates that. So how do we do that? Well, that's what the study of all this is about, and that's what I've been teaching for a long time, writing books about, appearing in movies about, creating coaching programs around, doing law of attraction Q&As around for a really long time, about getting people on board the correct law of attraction train so that it makes sense to them, so that it's not so much guesswork or blind leaps of faith or any of that stuff. So that's what I'm about. So basically, the very first thing, though, if you're going to work with the law of attraction, is what? Thank you, Anna. That's very nice of you to say. I'm glad you're back here, too. The very first thing you need if you're going to work with the law of attraction is a vision, right? I mean, the idea is that you're going to create something, so you should know what that something is. And it seems obvious, but a lot of people right off the bat start, when you think about their vision, what they really think about is all the problems that this creation of the vision is going to solve. And when you create from a problem-solving mode, that energy that you're putting out there with regards to your vision is saturated with problem. You just have to understand that. Right now, if you're not really clear on what the law of attraction is and how it works, just for the sake of this, just trust me. But believe me, I could teach you and you would know. Okay? So just for fun, just believe what I'm saying and play with it. If it doesn't work for you, well, then you're just wrong. I'm sorry, that was uncalled for. Was it though? Look, I'm committed to results for people, and I know that this stuff sometimes is a quantum leap out of your comfort zone, and you have to, there's a lot of logic you're trying to put into a process which really doesn't have that much logic, from a human standpoint. So when people want logical explanations of how certain things with regard to the law of attraction work, well, we can try to explain it. But if it's beyond what if it's not in that sphere of what you call logical, it's just gonna sound fantastical and you might reject it. And that's why people stay limited. That's why people get stuck with these programs, because they reach a point where it pops up against a comfort zone or a belief system or something, and they go, I just don't know about this, and then they bail. Instead of maybe looking at the whole thing from a bigger point of view. And that's really one of the things that we teach and all the things that we do. So you have to have that vision clear, and you have to know why you must do it. Like why this vision, and how are you going to feel? But the vision is made up of two main things: the external stuff that you're trying to attract / create, right? Like the house and the career and the love interest and all of that. But then the other thing is that most people don't think enough about is, who are you going to be? Now, I know I've been hammering this home the past few broadcasts, but it's absolutely critical that you understand from the beginning, how do you fit into this vision of yours? Because who you're being right now probably isn't the same person. It's a version of it, I'm sure, a happier version, a more abundant version, a worry-free version, whatever, but it's a different version, otherwise you'd already be there. Does that make sense? Of course it makes sense. So that crafting who you're going to be is a big part of it, and a lot of people just don't spend enough time on that when they're teaching this stuff. They focus on, well, what do you want? How's it going to make you feel? Which is important, but you are also a part of this, and a pretty darn big part. So understanding who you are and all of that is important. And then, of course, as you go through this journey and you create these visions, you're going to run up against what? Resistance, right? All those limiting beliefs that say, what? You can't do that. That's not who you are. All of those things. If you're not prepared for that, or if you can't see them for the lies that they are, then they're going to seem very real, like very valid arguments as to why you can't have what you want in your life. And so you'll buy into that and stop. That's what happens, because you consider yourself to be an intelligent person, and all of these arguments that you're getting from your ego, who wants nothing to change, seem very logical and reasonable. And that's exactly what the ego is very good at doing, is telling you exactly why you can't progress, why you can't take that next step, why you shouldn't even try, in language that you will not only understand but believe. And stop, right? That's huge. That's if you all look at if you've been working towards something, if you've been having goals and you've ever gotten stopped, this is what's at play. So being able to understand that and experience it and look at it and have tools to deal with it in the moment is freaking huge. It's the gateway to a whole new way of being and accepting and allowing things into your life. Wouldn't you like to learn how to do that? I'll just take a sip of coffee while you contemplate that. Jim says resistance is futile, and it's very powerful because it's a tension on something that you don't want, and it's bringing up all the negative emotions associated with it, which is a magnet to more of that. And look, again, if you're fairly new to the law of attraction conversation, it all kind of sounds woo-woo when I say things like attract and vibration and all that. Just get over it. Because that kind of thinking is like, well, that sounds too woo-woo. I'm going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. What I'm inviting you to do is like, I know it sounds woo-woo and weird. How about listening to the science behind it? How about taking a little time to invest in what this thing is really all about? Because we all want lives that we love. We all are after that. That's why we're following the careers. That's why we're doing everything we're doing in our life to have what we want. So, but we've been given this ability to really shortcut that process. And it's through this law of attraction that it's possible. Doesn't it seem like a good way to spend your time, resources, whatever, to learn how to do that? And maybe take some time to unlearn all the stuff that has limited you, all the stuff you paid tens of thousands of dollars for your higher education that has told you what is possible and what is impossible for you, right? Not likely for you. For somebody else, all of those things, those years you invested, all of that time and money that in a program now that has stopped you from living your dream. How about we delete all that and take a little bit of time to work together to reset that machine and get an eye on what you really truly want. Redo the wiring inside, right? So that you can, when that resistance comes up, now you can observe it for what it is and you don't have to get hooked in by it. Doesn't that sound great? That's what we do here, ladies and gentlemen. I've been talking for quite some time now about the upcoming group coaching program, haven't I? Probably, much to your chagrin. Today, we launch it. That's right. Today, we launch it. It is a 90-day group coaching program that I'll talk about in just a second, that addresses all of these steps that we're talking about in terms of the law of attraction, the vision and the resistance, and then stuff we'll talk about in a minute, which is your intuition, following it and taking action on it. And then how do you deal with the relationships of people around you? We're going to talk about all that coming up. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just letting you know that right now you can get in here on this group coaching program. We'll take a little peek. We'll take a little peek at the new sales page in just a few minutes. And if for whatever reason you're not quite ready to do that, you can also type group info into the comments here, and we'll send you a little bit more information. But it's all going to lead you to that web page, which is where you're going to be looking at it and going, I know I should do this. 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 And then what I invite you to do is listen to the words that come right after that. I know I should do this. And then when you hear the little, yeah, but, pay very close attention. Pay very close attention to what's being said. First of all, what you'll hear is, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's why I can't do it. That's why I shouldn't do it. That's why blah, blah, blah. Now, listen again from an observer point of view and just go, wow, that's a mechanism that always comes into play. When I have an opportunity to grow or to step out of my comfort zone, this conversation 100% of the time comes up and stops me. You're either going to always be ruled by that or you're going to learn how to not be ruled by that. And this is the kind of thing we talk about in our group coaching program, which has historically been a 30-day thing, and now it's a 90-day thing. So we can go even deeper and for longer, and the relationships you make can last and be not broken, and momentum can stay, and there's just much more opportunity for one-on-one coaching and things like that. We'll talk about all that stuff in just a moment. Okay, so now we've got a question. Emasim Ednan, kindly explain about law of attachment. I actually created KFC example to explain the science of the law of attraction because people can't understand the science of remote influencing. Okay, I'm sorry, but that question feels a little all over the place for me. I'm trying to figure out what's the one thing that you're actually asking. But I can talk about detachment because we do talk about, And it's very confusing. It's very confusing for people because, we tell you to get clear on your vision, have a clear picture of what you want, get into the feeling of it, and then we want you to detach from it. So it means, so people are left going, well, wait, you mean I should want it, but I don't want it? That's not it. So attachment is an energy that is a sort of a clinging to. If you're attached to getting something, what you're telling the universe is, I cannot be happy without this thing, or I can't get the feeling I'm going to get without this thing. So you're attached to this being the way. Now the universe can literally deliver infinite other ways to get that feeling that you're looking for or better. But when you're attached to this, you may have an idea that this way is going to make you feel that way. But the universe basically does know better than you. Sorry, access to much more information. So the idea is to get clear on how you want to feel, but to attach to a certain thing and to a certain outcome is actually resistance, because what you're generating in that attachment is a feeling of, if I don't have this, it's a I don't have. When you're attached, you're constantly telling the universe, I don't have. So it always comes down to the level of conversation that you're having with the universe. What are you saying in any given moment about what is right now? So much of this work is about how do we change our language to the universe? How do we change our constant conversation? So if you're a person who walks around mostly negative, it's time to own that. And if you're a person who says, well, look, that's just who I am, it's time to say, okay, that's who you've been. Who would you like to be? Now, your ego, of course, will tell you that you have no other choice. This is who you are, and that can't change. But trust me, that's not true. It's just going to be uncomfortable. Anna said, if one's being negative for a moment or period, which is resistance, right, what's the easiest way to shift to a positive mindset in that moment? Well, there's so many ways. It's going to be different for everybody. It's just what puts you in a good mood, basically. A temporary distraction. For me, I pick up the ukulele, or I go pet Cody, right? Those are two go-to, or I jump into virtual reality and play some games, right? Just change my state for a second. But the other way is, another almost better way is to learn this process that we've been talking about becoming an observer. So when you have that moment, rise out of it and look and say, oh, look, this is that pattern again. Why don't I do something about it using one of the tools that we, like EFT or whatever that we go over in the group coaching program. We give you several tools to work with on that. So yeah, what's easiest is going to be different for everybody. For me, it's easy to pick up a uke or go play with the dog or whatever and shift my mindset. But other times, if that's just not possible, then I will always go to, how can I just turn off the negative emotion around this right now and just observe it and see if I can change it or at least neutralize it. Okay? Okay. Any other questions? Because that is really one of the main reasons we're here. Well, let me move on in terms of this process. So we talked about, obviously, you got to have the vision. And if you're not clear on your vision, I'm telling you, if you're not 100% clear on your vision, 100% clear, and it's not, and you got to make sure that the vision is not saturated with resistance and feelings and thoughts of lack. This is my vision because I don't have all of this stuff. If that's what's going on, believe me, you're going to get really wacky results with the law of attraction. Completely accurate, completely appropriate to what you're putting out there, but it's about not understanding what you're putting out there. So this group coaching gives you a microscopic look at what you're putting out there, because you get feedback from all different angles. We all see things you can't see, and you're in this environment that's totally safe and supportive. But you've got to be able to see what you're sending out there and be willing to own it. And that's also, one of the challenges of doing this work is you got to sometimes own things that you don't necessarily want to own. Like sometimes people cling, like they cling to this conversation. Oh, I believe this, I believe this, I believe this. And when it comes right down to it, they don't. They want to. They think it would be great. They have posters all over the place reminding them to believe it, but deep down, there's still doubt. That's what's true, and that's what the universe sees. So if seriously, you can't hide your vibration from the universe with a bunch of posters and happy faces and inspirational quotes. If you are feeling lack or feeling any of these negative feelings inside, it doesn't matter what you put out there, guys. Your energy is what's being interpreted. So if you feel like you're not sending a clear signal let's get that cleaned up and be ready, because it's going to be a wild ride. Am I right, Beth? See, look, the thing about this group coaching, and I've done group coaching for a long time in various forms. This is the real work. We are doing it. I am not just teaching at you. The way it works is I go live once a week with a teaching thing. Like, here's what the law of attraction is. Here's what, resistance is. And I dig into that. And it's all live, just like this. And we take questions from the group. And, of course, those questions can be answered later. And that comment thread is always there. But in between all of those things, that group is always going 24/7. So it is constant support. It's not just when we do the calls. And I am in there every day. If I miss a day because I'm traveling, whatever. We got 90 days. The point is, I'm in there on a regular basis, and I'm answering your questions either with comments, or I'm leaving video messages specifically to your point, or making something for the group. Because like I said the other day, it's very organic. We don't know where the needs of the group are going to go, but wherever that goes, that's where I'm going, right? So you're truly getting a custom coaching program and more access to me than any of my one-on-one coaching clients ever have had. So Yamadeep says, sometimes ego comes in relationship. How to avoid that through law of attraction? Well, the ego is there, creating your identity, and I don't know. I guess what I need to know is, like, yes, it's going to show up in relationship because we're bringing an identity into our relationship. But I'm not quite sure. I mean, you can't avoid it, but you can be aware of what parts of your ego maybe you don't want to be showing up in your relationship, like clinginess or neediness or something that it's part of your ego that says, oh, if you don't act like this, you're going to lose this, or something like that. It's just being aware. It's just like any other situation. When you get that negative feeling, you go, oh, there's that resistance. What is that? So that applies to relationships or whatever. Matilda, yes, it is 90 days, new concept. Matilda was in our 30-day program, and yes, I am doing it for 90 days. And so it's Matilda and Steve and and Beth and some of these, and Shelly, who's all been here, who've been in the 30-day program. You know what it is, except now it's drawn out for 90 days. Because what was happening was the people were doing the 30 days, and several of them were like, I want to do more. I want to do another 30, or whatever. So this time it's just plain old 90, because I know a lot of stuff can get done in 90 days. And so the first 30 days, we're going over the basics and so on. And then after that, it is just daily living it. I'm stuck. Help. Get unstuck. Celebrate. Support. All of that to create this momentum. And yeah, it's an investment. I think it's a really low. I know it is for my time. What I was charging for one-on-one coaching anyway. This is the value. And this is the way I do it now instead of one-on-one coaching, because I know this is more effective. I know it is because I watch the results. I see them unfold. I see what happens in 30 days with some people that was harder to do in 45 days with one-on-one, because in between those things, I'm not keeping up with them daily and so on. And they're not necessarily sharing everything. If I'm their only support system, it can be slower. In the group, you've got a huge support system. And if any of you deal with people in your life that you call negative, or who aren't basically on board with where it is you want to go with your vision or whatever, you know how difficult this journey can be. You got to have some support, right? So if you're wanting that, boundlessliving.com/group coaching. Let's take a look at the site. Come on, it'll be fun. This is what you'll see when you go over there. And for those of you who are going, okay, where's the price conversation? Here it comes. Of course, you could already look at it and see this. Okay. So anyway, this is the page you'll go to when you go there. So I'm going to get rid of that URL. So there's a little video there that plays of me right here in this environment, even wearing the same shirt. Now, this video is basically telling you what I'm telling you, but in a shorter amount of time. Okay. And I want you to notice that what we've got here is some testimonial videos from some folks who have done this process before, and some of them have done it more than once. And we're going to be adding 5 or 6 more of these over the next couple of days. As I was saying yesterday, the only reason I didn't share this with you yesterday is because we were just trying to get this web page done. So now it's done enough, okay? And this just kind of goes over what is included in there. We've got the live stream lessons that I talked about. Hot seat coaching comes in a little bit later, when you start really working this stuff. And then now what we do is bring you in, face to face. It's just like this, where it's like in this environment, except that I now bring you in, so it's kind of like interview style. And I do some coaching for the benefit of the group on whatever has got you stuck right now. That is huge, guys. It's personal coaching on a regular basis, one-on-one, to get you through the sticking points. It's big. That wasn't really originally part of the program, but then I realized it was a necessity, and the people who have done it will agree, I'm sure. We also have an entire meditation library, all kinds of things like sleep and getting focused, getting centered, wealth consciousness, just focusing on your vision, connecting to your passion. All of these things are important elements of this process. And then, of course, I told you about the kick butt community, because that's really where the magic is. I'm not, I know that sounds a little cliche, but you know what? I don't care, because it's true. And the people who are here, who are in this community, will say it is true. It's magic in there. I can't explain it, but I think it's just because it's so freaking safe and everybody is so supportive. All different kinds of people. Matilda and Beth will attest that, this last group that we had, it was like all over the place, right? Very different types of people. And yet we're all there for one thing, and that's to get this law of attraction conversation working on a regular basis. So we don't have to think about it so much. So we don't have to keep buying programs, so that we can really actually integrate this stuff into our life. And of course, all the sessions are recorded and archived, which means, if you can't make one of the live things, it's no big deal. You can watch it later. It'll always be there in the private group. And you can always comment. You can always ask questions. See, I'm taking care of you. I'm taking care of you. And then, like I said before, 90 days of daily access to me. Unheard of. Unheard of. All right, there's the price. So it's 90 days. You can do one payment of $697, or you can break it up into 3 for $249. Just depends on what's easiest for you. I could go all day about, well, if you bought this, it would cost you this, whatever. This is a great price. End of story. And here's the thing: you got to understand this. This is something that ego sometimes says. Well, if I don't get results with this, then I've wasted this money, right? If I don't get results with this, then I've wasted this money. Well, that conversation, of course, sets you up for failure, right? Because you're already in the vibration of if I don't get the results, right? So you're already expecting it to some extent, or the ego is, if you've done programs before, right? So it's this whole conversation about, well, what if? And guess what? There's no refunds, to make your ego scream a little bit louder. Why are there no refunds? This is a huge, huge time commitment. Huge for everybody, for me, for you, Bob, I don't have that kind of time. Yes, you do. You're integrating it into your life. You don't have to set aside extra time, okay? But the point is, you will be spending time, and I will be spending all sorts of time, coaching and doing all of those other things. So I'm just saying, great investment there. But here's the magic. Oh, the refund. That I was saying about the refund. Yeah, so, this is for people who are obviously committed. I know this isn't for everybody. I get that. But if you're committed, that's when you do this. Because I promise you, you're going to get amazing results. I would not, I wouldn't have these people on here, telling their stories, because you'd be hearing from the other people who didn't. All of those things. I stand by this 100 billion% because of the results that you can hear about. And the more that you'll hear about. So if you're coming in going, well, as a tire kicker, that's why the law of attraction sometimes doesn't work for people, because they're tire kicking. They're already going in going, well, let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. You have to understand what that vibration is telling the universe, which is, this probably won't work. So guess what? Right? So what I'm saying is, you make this commitment, and I can tell you, the minute you make the commitment, the program starts. And in fact, let me make that a little bit more real. So this thing, as you can see at the top, we start the official wrong page. The official thing starts on the 23rd of September. Okay, but if you get in now, guess what? I'm there now. We're having conversations now. When you get in this group, you've already started the process. You'll already start to get to know each other. It'll already begin even before the first session. Again, the people who have worked with me in these groups before know that I always kind of open up that group a week early, and then get in there. This time it's even more than a week early. So we've got all kinds of time. So there's a grand advantage of getting in there early, so that by the time we start on the 23rd, you're not like just getting to know everybody and all of that, right? You come in now, you form in the relationships, and then we all hit the ground running as a team. It makes a huge difference. Let me sweeten that up just a little bit more. I don't have this on the webpage. I don't have what I'm about to say on the webpage. So this is the only place you'll know about this. And Lynn talked me into this, just so you know. Lynn Rose talked me into this. So the first 5 people. Now, for the replay viewers, if the 5 are already gone, just, I don't know, send me I'm not a monster. I'm a reasonable man. But look, for the first 5 who jump in, this is what I'm going to do just to kind of sweeten that up. I don't do one-on-one coaching anymore, but for the first 5, what I'll do is I'll give you an hour at some point after the first 30 days of the 90 days. So if you need a one, and I have made that available for purchase for former group coaching clients if they've asked. I've never announced it. I've never said, hey, I have this, but I've had people say, hey, could I get an hour? And so I've charged them for it. And so what I'm saying for you is that you get in early. Not only will you have a running start, right, access to the meditations and just really starting to gel your vision already, which is the first step. But also then after you've been in there for a bit, and now you're really coming up against stuff, if you want that extra personal hour with me, you'll get it if you're one of the first 5. I think that sounds fair. I think that sounds radically fair. Radical fairness. I think that'll be my new thing. Okay, so let's get back to your questions. Anna again is saying, how do you achieve the knowing part? It has happened to me twice in my life, and it's been just like you explained it. Then I didn't do anything. I just knew those things would happen. Now it's like I have to work for it. But how? I'm not 100% sure I understand the question. The knowing part, again, like knowing that something's going to occur. See, what we can know for sure is that the law of attraction will bring us into vibrational alignment with whatever we're telling it is right now. So if and we do that mostly through our emotions. Our emotions are basically sending these sort of pictures that the universe is matching with our experience of reality. And it gets us there by showing us what action to take through our intuition, which is, a huge part of the group coaching, is learning what is our intuition and how do we follow it and all of that. But knowing that the universe doesn't break, it always works, it always delivers, even if we can't figure out how it's showing, well, then that's kind of where the knowing part comes from. But I'm not 100% sure. I lose you here when you start saying, then I didn't do anything, I just knew those things would happen. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe you're saying that you knew something would happen and you didn't have to take any action. And that can happen. It's all about what needs to happen from a level of resistance between here and there. And if there is absolutely, literally zero resistance, then things can pop up very, very quickly, or with you seemingly doing nothing. But most of the time, there's going to be action to take. And the action can be physical movement. It can be, a thought. It can be whatever. It can be, writing the article, whatever. You'll get the message. And we'll teach you in the course how to start to discern that message from just all the noise in your head. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Hi, Gail Turner Brown has joined, and Jane has joined too when I wasn't looking. And Bill also might still be hanging in there. One moment. This is on the verge of lukewarm, and you all know how I feel about that. The other alternative is, if for whatever reason you don't want to just go to that site. I don't know why you wouldn't. It's beautiful, I think. You can type group info into the comments, but if you do that, you're just going to get a link to the site, right? So you may as well just go on over to the site. I spent all this time working on it for you. Actually, Dawn and I both did. See? And then you can watch that video. I put a lot of love into that yesterday. I did. I was talking about this yesterday about how, I've really lost a lot of taste for the marketing side of being on the internet. I'm sorry. everyone, all of my colleagues. And this is why I live stream, because I just like talking to people, and I don't, the whole webpage thing and the languaging and the whole, it's just like, I'm over it. So this is what, if it were me, if I had my druthers, my whole life of sharing my services would be me doing this and then saying, now go click this buy button. There's no copy to read. There's no video to watch. I just told you what it is. Go get it. And that's kind of how I feel about this. Sometimes you can be really clear. I need everything he just told me. I need my vision. I need clarity in my vision. I need support. I need accountability. I need to know what to do when I'm stopped. I need to know how to handle these negative emotions. I need all of these things. Oh, I'm going to go to the webpage. Oh, wait, I'm not sure I like this paragraph. I'm not going to do it. See, that's the kind of stuff that just drives me crazy. Anyway, I don't know why I got sidetracked on that. All right, so Matilda says, will this be the new thing, 3 months every time? Yes. From now on, well, I mean, unless there's some, unless I come up with something better as a result of doing it. But for me, this feels really good. We get to really, really settle in with one another and go through the cycles for a much longer period of time. Because I have seen, in some cases that, you go through the 30 days and you get on a high and things are going great and you've got the momentum, but then the natural cycle happens and you start to go down, and sometimes people can think, oh my God, am I losing it? And that's the most dangerous path you can go down, right? And that's your ego's loving it. Yes, you're losing it. You never had it in the first place. That's what's happening. So having more time, obviously, the group to come back to, and with me there and doing the hot seat coaching and all those things, obviously, you stand a much better chance for the long haul. Tiffany says, how do you get back on track when things seem to keep pushing against you? So I think what I would first do is, if we were having a conversation about it, I'd say, well, what is it? Where are you going? Where are you trying to go? And then how is this pushing against you occurring? Because why it's happening is going to be very specific to that thing that you're going for and whatever else is going on in your mind about it. So if you're going towards something and it just seems to just keep going away, then there might be some resistance there for you to look at. Like, what's the downside of achieving it? What possible thing could your ego be telling you that's negative about getting that thing, right? And then going, well, I guess it could be this. And whatever that is probably a good place to start. And say, oh, I've got a thing about that. Maybe I feel like I don't deserve it or whatever. But again, you got to be super brutally honest with yourself. And that's one of the things about in the group coaching. I'm a fun-loving guy. I like to laugh. I can be a silly goose. There's no question. I'm first to admit it. But Beth will also tell you that I have no tolerance for monkey business, right? And if somebody is doing something that I know is just their ego acting out, I will freaking call them on it immediately. I do not try to be nice about it. I don't be mean about it. Let's make no mistake. But we don't have time. We don't have time to go down these goofy ego roads, right? We have to nip it in the bud, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Poor Beth. Am I right? We had started the program like a week, and I'm already, pointing at some things. And it was uncomfortable for her, but in the end, it was the right thing. And it's not that I'm going to constantly be doing that to everybody, but I'm committed to you getting where you got to go. And if I'm just some namby-pamby coach going, that's okay, you can whatever and work. No, you don't have time for that. 90 days. It's a long time and it's a short time. Right? We're trying to undo a lifetime's worth of crazy limiting beliefs in 90 days to the extent that we can and get you on some unstoppable momentum. And I know we can do it because we've done it in 30 days, right? So 90 days. Whoa. Steve says, will there be a new and different theme every week? That'll, of course, be up to the group and what's needed. I have my own segments that we talk about, like law of attraction and resistance and the importance of vision and intuition and relationships and taking inspired action, those big sort of macro topics. But if, like I said, if the group is struggling in an area, then that might be the theme. I'm not rigid. The one commitment I have in terms of what am I absolutely going to do? I'm absolutely going to get you through that 90 days in the direction that you want to go. However, we need to do that. So this curriculum and these hot seat coachings and all that, this is a way that's been proven to do that. But if I need to do other things, then by golly, Steve will tell you, we do it. I'm always coming up with stuff to do. And Beth said, very uncomfortable, worth it. So Tracy says, how do you have time to do this and play Rick in The Walking Dead? I've gotten that question before. I've never seen The Walking Dead. I don't even know who Rick is. Okay, all right, let's see what we got here. Well, look, I've been jibber-jabbering for quite some time, and, you know what to do, and I've been answering your questions. I'm still happy to answer your law of attraction questions. I got no time limit. I'm in the mood for this. But, if you're out of questions, that's fine. But this is where to go if you want to get into the group coaching. And I'll post the link afterward, or Dawn can, or... Oh, look at that. I looked down, and she'd done it. See? Everybody needs a Dawn in their life. I'm glad I've got one. Okay. Last call for questions today. But look, see, let me sum up. My goal with everything I've taught, whether it's the book I write or the Wealth Beyond Reason program or group coaching or whatever, my goal, whether I succeed or not 100% with every single person, is to empower everybody I come into contact with to become their own guru, basically, to get to that sense of knowing what the law of attraction is, so that to the extent that they can look at any situation, theirs or someone else's, and know from a law of attraction point of view what is going on. Maybe not the infinite detail of like, well, this is your issue, but that there is an issue and ways to get to it. So you never have to be reliant on, just more programs or whatever. I think it's great if you find a support system that you stay with for the rest of your life, or a coach. Coaching can be a lifetime thing. I don't necessarily want to coach for my lifetime, you know what I'm saying? But, right now, man, it gives me the juice. Because after years of just sort of selling programs out like that, this is so just like I'm in it with you. And I get to feel what you're feeling, and I get to participate too. I mean, some of the people in this group called me out plenty of times. Marina, if you're watching this, talking to you. But even after the group coaching, even after these 30 days have been done, these people, they're still in a relationship with one another. They're still talking. They're still in those groups. They're still supporting each other. They're still posting videos. They're still doing it since the beginning of the year. That's the power, without me even being there to keep it going. That's what I'm saying. Imagine if you had that kind of support system in your life every freaking day, a safe place to go to say, wow, this is what I'm up against, and there's no shame in saying, today wasn't that great of a day. Today I didn't manifest the way I wanted to. There's no shame in that, right? You come in and you get support, and you turn it around. It's really, when it comes down to it, it's just about not stopping, right? And so what we're trying to do is eliminate as many stops as we possibly can through the various techniques, or the knowledge that you get, or the power of the vision that you're going to live into, so that those stops are insignificant and completely irrelevant, because this is obviously way more important than any of that noise that your ego is spewing at you. Matilda says, can you... Yes, of course, Matilda. You can direct message me a question. Okay, so look, just one more time, just to be really super clear, if I can get down here. Oh, scrolling on the wrong screen again. Whoops, I didn't mean to play Shelley. Hold on. I'll let you do that yourself. Now I can't hit pause. All right. You got one payment. You got 3 payments. First 5, get a private session with me sometime during the course, after the first 30 days of the course of the 90 days. Get an hour with me. It's worth over more than one of these payments if you want the payment option. Okay, and as soon as you get in there, you're going to be directed to the group. You may be the first one. Who's going to be the first one? Well, Dawn's the first one. Who's going to be the second one? Who's going to be the second one? Because, the first people get in there, they're like the leaders. So, if you want to be a leader, you got to get in there. You don't want to be a follower. You don't want to be like number 6. Ugh. I'm kidding. You can be number 60, and it's still awesome. But the first 5 get that. And again, if you're watching the replay and the first 5 have already been filled, just message me and let's have a conversation, and we'll see what we can do about that. I'm a fair guy. I am. I'm a Libra, right? So doesn't that mean I'm fair? I don't know what it means. Okay, it's time for some music that says you've been watching Law of Attraction related stuff with me, Bob Doyle, from The Secret. Really interested to see what that new Secret movie's going to do, aren't you? I'm curious. You know what to do. BoundlessLiving.com/group coaching. We start officially September 23rd, or you can start minutes from now. It's your choice. I look forward to talking to you again, well, probably tomorrow.